What is the best way to invest my money? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And the reason why my money is in big letters is because it's really important. It's your money. It took a lot for you to get it into your hands, to put it into your bank account. And the last thing I want to see is you lose your money. So you need to start to really think about it from a protection standpoint. You know, so many times in life, people get these great investment tips. There's always a friend out there that's got a great investment tip. Hey man, I got a great investment idea. You got to check it out. And you get super emotionally charged. And what do? You throw all your money at it. Now, I've actually fallen for this a handful of times. I actually lost everything that I'd set aside to invest 3 different times in my life. I was a complete idiot. What blew me away is that it took the 3rd time to finally say, it will never, ever, ever happen again. Now, how did I lose all of my money? Now, first off, when I say lose all of my money, I never invested what I wasn't willing to lose. Now, that's probably the dumbest thing that anyone could ever say, because who puts money in that you're willing to lose? Nobody. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I had set aside money to invest. Ironically, I lost it all. Okay, so I still was able to make my bills. And that's the number one most important thing. Don't invest money that is going to cause you to be kicked out on the street if you lose. Okay, number 1 rule. Now, the number 2 rule is something else that I had to learn the hard way, and that is invest on fundamentals. I always ask people this when they tell me about this new investment they're in. I ask them, how will it cause your money to go up? And the people always look at me like with these blank stares, like, let's say it's a stock or it's a bond or it's a cryptocurrency. I say, how will that investment cause your money to be worth more in the future? And they all look at me like I'm dumb and they say, well, because it'll be worth more. I'm like, okay, so you bought something at $10 and you're going to sell it at 20. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask this again, but I'm going to ask it differently. How will the investment cause the value of what you invested to go from $10 to 20? And 9 times out of 10, they can never answer that question. So the second most important thing that you need to do is you need to be able to verbally explain to someone why the investment you are buying. Let's say you're buying gold. Well, this is the answer. I'm buying gold because of uncertainty with the government. The government keeps printing money, and it's really hard to find gold in the ground at the same rate that the government is printing money. So therefore, over time, I see that gold keeps trending higher and higher. Now there's dips. I give you that. But if you look at how much the government's out of control with their spending, I think I'm really safe with gold. That would be my answer. But 9 times out of 10, people would just say, look at me and go, well, because it's going to go up in value. Okay. Well, the thing is, if you don't know the fundamentals, you shouldn't be investing in it. Okay. Now that brings us to number 3, and it's actually still tied to number 2. So here we go. The number 3rd rule of what is the best way to invest your money is to not only invest in the fundamentals, things that you believe in that you could explain to your family and friends if you needed to, right? To understand why that investment is going to go up in value later in the future. But you don't put all of your money in one basket. That's another thing that I had to learn the hard way. When I put all of my money in one basket and it went down and I had to sell at a loss, it was because I only had one thing to sell at a loss, and it was going down. It was a loser. So my point being is that when you invest, you want to have multiple different types of investments. This is called diversification in the financial world. But when you have different baskets with money in them, let's say you have some investments in gold, you have a little bit of silver, you have some cryptocurrency, you have some stock, you have your 401k. I treat those all differently. When one goes up and the others don't go up, or let's say some go down, but I still believe in the fundamentals, then I do a little correction. I pull some profits out of the winners, and I put some into, at that point, the losers. But again, if you're basing your investment decisions on fundamentals and you can explain and understand in your head why a certain asset class or a certain stock would go up, right, based off of fundamentals, then you're going to have more conviction to hold it if it goes down for a reason that wouldn't be normal. Like it's based off human emotion. Now, the last thing I want to bring up is how you should invest your money is, again, don't go off of some hot stock tip or some great crypto idea that's coming out. You need to do a lot of due diligence. So few people out there want to actually put in the time to learn about a specific asset. They go down the road of making poor decisions when you should be your money's invested, which means your mind should be invested. You should have the answers to any questions thrown at you. Why? Again, because if the value of that asset goes down and you really understand the fundamentals of it, you can start to see opportunities. Whereas somebody that doesn't understand that will all of a sudden see a price drop and out of emotion sell far too early. There have been so many times where I had bought a stock off of fundamentals, but for some reason my fundamentals weren't strong enough. And when the asset went down in price, I got spooked and I sold, only to find out that later on, let me know down in the comments if it happened to you before too, that asset recovered and went way past where I'd originally even bought it from. So again, you need to be invested not only financially, but you need to be invested mentally, and that turns into emotionally. All right. Look, I hope you got something out of this. It's so important to figure out what the best way to invest your money is. And remember this, first and foremost, no one will care about your money more than you do. So think about that when you start hiring people to manage your money. All right. With that being said, this one is done. Let's move on to the next video.